Welcome to today's Deep Dive. Today, our mission is to unpack a pretty comprehensive research report on Felis catus, uncovering the evolutionary, cognitive, and I guess ecological paradoxes of the domestic cat.
Yeah, we're really looking at how a solitary apex predator somehow just adapted to modern human life. And more importantly, why understanding this underlying science directly impacts your everyday relationship with your own feline.
Okay, let's unpack this because I was looking at the genetic timeline in the report, and the biggest aha moment for me was realizing we didn't breed them for looks at all.
Not at all, no.
Right, like you might think they've been revered for their beauty since ancient Egypt, but the genetic marker for the splotchy tabby coat, it didn't even appear until around 1300 AD.
Which is wild because for the 9,000 years prior, they were strictly utilitarian. Like they were working animals used almost exclusively for pest control.
Yeah, on Viking global trade ships, for instance.
Exactly. They weren't brought along as companions for those long voyages. They were essentially crucial crew members deployed to protect vital food supplies from rodents across massive trade routes. Entirely functional, not decorative.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The sources show that utilitarian relationship eventually started to shift, and a lot of that comes down to vocalization.
Right, the meowing.
Yeah, I noticed in the research that adult domestic cats rarely actually meow at each other. That classic sound is almost entirely engineered for you.
They've spent the last 7,000 years fine-tuning the pitch of their meows to basically exploit our perceptual biases.
Wow.
I mean, if you listen to the calls of their ancestor, the wildcat, the sounds are completely abrasive and permanently angry, even when they want affection.
But domestic cats don't sound like that.
No, they hit the exact acoustic sweet spot that triggers human caregiving instincts. They know exactly which pitch to use to get your affection or demand to be fed.
So they've essentially hacked our parental instincts over thousands of years. And the research shows they're paying much closer attention to us than their aloof reputation suggests.
What's fascinating here is that they hold active mental representations of you. Look at the same sound different location study highlighted in the text.
Oh, right, where they prove your cat is continuously mapping your exact location in the house using just your voice.
Exactly. Researchers set up a scenario where a cat would hear their owner call from the hallway. Then they instantly broadcast that same voice from a speaker on the opposite side of the room.
And the cats showed massive behavioral surprise, right?
Yep. They hold an active mental representation of you and are constantly tracking your movements.
It really changes how you view them just sitting in the hallway. They aren't just staring at a wall. They're actively mapping where you are in the house.
Constantly.
So they are constantly tracking us and manipulating us indoors. But this research highlights a massive friction point when these hyper-aware predators step outside. There's a real ecological paradox here.
A huge one.
You're probably familiar with the intense debate around outdoor cats, and the report outlines this tension perfectly. On one side, you have animal welfare advocates strongly supporting trap-neuter return as a humane population control method.
Right. But on the other side, conservationists argue that releasing these apex predators back outside is devastating. They note they have actually contributed to 63 different species extinctions globally.
Which brings us to the modern veterinary standards.
Yes, this ecological mismatch is why vets urge you to keep your cats indoors. But because they still retain those intense wild instincts we just talked about, you can't simply lock them inside and ignore them.
They require serious enrichment to mimic that outdoor experience.
Exactly. We're talking about building secure outdoor enclosures like catios or engaging in dedicated daily hunt cycle play. You have to keep them mentally and physically stimulated without letting them harm the local ecosystem.
It really is an incredible journey to trace. We are talking about an animal that went from being a solitary hunter protecting Viking food supplies, to a sophisticated human manipulator that shares our living rooms. So what does this all mean?
Well, the research leaves us with one final mind-bending concept known as the cute cat theory of digital activism.
I love this part.
Because the internet is so heavily saturated with universally beloved cat media, authoritarian governments are highly reluctant to censor mainstream platforms.
Right, because if a regime blocks a site where millions of citizens are just trying to look at cute cats, it provokes massive civilian anger.
Exactly. Meaning the innocent cat memes you share are actually providing a digital shield of immunity for global political dissidents.
A digital shield made of cat memes. You really will never look at your cat the same way again. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.